Hello and welcome back to the web series where I build a full stack web app. If this is your first video with me, I suggest you go back, watch some of the older stuff for context, because I don't want to make my 7 subscribers listen to the whole spiel again. In the video you're about to watch, I am narrowing in on finishing the proof of concept. So let's go ahead and watch me build that. All right, it is Tuesday evening. Honestly, I'm tired. I don't know that I feel like jumping into this evening, but I do know that come the end of the week, I'm going to wish that I had. So I'm going to attempt to just press on and get a little fuel to get me going and jump back in here. So what do we have? Next on the list, it looks like I want to make the gallery name and description editable. So basically, once I have my own collection here, I want to be able to change the name and then change the description. That's going to help give those a little more identity. So let's let's do that. Okay, here we go. I added a edit button to the title, so I can edit, I can change the title and cancel that and nothing happens. Or if I do save, right now it just logs that out. I'm gonna look at how I put that together. So I created this editable text component, which I'm hoping is going to be generic enough to let me use it also for the description and later on the comment here inside each item itself. Basically, it takes some children and then it adds a button, an edit button. Once you edit the button, it replaces effectively the content or the children with a input line with buttons to save or cancel. Now the component lets you pass down what you want to do to actually handle the change. Here I'm doing that in on save, and then also the default text for the input bar. Input. What do we call that? An input bar, a line, a piece of input. And I also have a bool to whether or not whether or not to actually allow the editing. So for example, when I come in here, if I'm signed out, so if I copy that same URL, I go to the user sign out, and then go back to that gallery, because I'm not the signed in user, in this case, the enable edit is false, so I don't even get the edit button. And then once again, if I sign in, then the edit button is there. So that's what I have there. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to connect the API now to actually, once I get that edit, to pass that onto the server. And then I'll try to apply the same logic to the description and Okay, this is about to be a full 60-second time lapse of me just writing code. Hopefully the music I find is pretty good. If you want to see less of these montages or more of these montages, let me know in the comments. How can I make these videos more interesting for you? Still got 20 seconds to go. Okay, got that working with surprisingly few problems. So if we see now, I can edit this title, I can change from another title to something else, cancel, and nothing happens. But if I do that, whatever, save it, and then it changes to something else, and that's done a full round trip to the server. Here in the network tab, I got the updated gallery response back. So let's take a look at how I implemented this. Inside of the gallery section here, we already touched on this editable text. It passes in a onSave handler, which is going to save the gallery title. This just basically passes in a updated gallery state to this function here. It takes the new gallery state. Here it constructs the payload for this new API request to update the gallery. It sends that, and then it handles it by, where are you? Setting the gallery request for this page with the new data. So let's also take a look at how I put that together on the server side. So I have everything built in terms of commands and handlers. So I added this new update gallery command. It takes the actor, which is like the user trying to perform this action, the gallery ID, and then the new title and new description for the gallery. Either of these are nullable, it's fine. Inside this update gallery command, I have a validation function that just does some very basic validation. This one, it just checks that the new title and description are not both null, because in that case you're not really changing anything. So very minimal validation here. And then inside the handler, it has additional validation. So the difference between the validation on the command itself and the handler, thank you Windows Update. The validation on the command itself is something that can be performed stateless. All you need is the command itself. Inside the handler, it is doing additional validation based on the state of the app. So it's actually grabbing, for example, it's grabbing the gallery that you're trying to modify, and it's checking that you have permissions to do that, for example. So then I have two main functions inside the handler. One is to handle the request, and one is to handle the command. So the way everything is set up, in the handle request, we're taking the command, we're doing a kind of a false processing to generate the new state of the gallery, and we're returning that. But before we return that, we also publish the command to the command publisher. So once it's published, we know we're set and we're going to actually process that command, but we don't want to wait for that command to process. We want to go ahead and let the user go on with their day. So we update the gallery as we know it will be updated, that we're not saving anything to the database. Then in the command handler, so that's once the command is published and it goes through, eventually it gets picked up and pulled back into the command handler. Here we're not needing to return anything, we're just processing the state internally. And so again, we assume that it's already been validated, so we don't need to do that. So here we just pull down the current state of the gallery from the database. We update using the apply to gallery function for the command to basically mutate a gallery into its new state, and then we just save that out. So very simple there. Inside the gallery service, here at the very top, I'm instantiating all the different command handlers. Most of them have very similar arguments in terms of what they require from the gallery service. In this case, it's the store of the galleries. Some of them require a user store for user data, but not all of them. And then in the express wrapper for the gallery service, that is where we are registering the route. Where is it? Update gallery. So I added this new route. So it just grabs that. It pulls the command out of the request body. This is doing it in a very not type safe way because JavaScript. But that's what's going on there, and then it just passes that into the service. So basically, to sum it all up, the request comes in, Express handles it, it pulls out the command, it passes the command in to the handler validates it, publishes the command to the queue, and then returns a, what's the word I want to say here? And then returns a preemptive response. Then eventually that command will be picked up. When I say eventually, it's like milliseconds later. It will be picked up and applied to the state and update the database. So that's how that's working. Now that I have this here, I want to go ahead and try to apply the same now to the gallery description. So I will. Alright, that took all of 5 minutes to get both the description and these comments editable, which means I guess I'm doing something right somewhere. So here I can change that to something else, and similarly down in the comments I can change this. How to create here. Save that, it pops in. If I do a full refresh, we see we still have these updated comments, so that is coming from the database. And then also if I open the site in a new tab where I'm not logged in, you see because we're not logged in, we don't have any of the edit buttons. So awesome, that is working, which means I can go here and I can cross that off the list and I can cross that off the list. Not bad, not bad. I'm gonna go pass out and I'll see you in the next shot. Okay, back to the grindstone. Again, I'm targeting to get this ready by the end of the week to try to give it to some people to start getting feedback as to whether or not this is useful, whether it's worth pursuing. To that end, I do want it to sort of stand on its own. I don't want to have to hold people's hands to explain to them what this is. So I do want a homepage that better explains the point of this project, how to use it, what type of feedback I'm looking for. That's just going to be me putting some text here in the homepage. I don't think it's going to be interesting to watch, so I'll do that on my own time. A few other small things. I want to change the terminology on the links here, so the sign in, sign up, just to make that more clear. I also want to show on the page for a collection to show which user is the owner of that collection. And then finally, or not finally, but probably finally for tonight, I want to try to add the ability to sort the items. So in addition to the filtering, once you have a bunch of items here, let the user sort it by the title, the comment updated, let them choose how they want to sort that. I don't want that when you sort by the URL, everything is under H for HTTPS. So I'll work on stripping that out, and that'll make things look a little cleaner as well. Okay, I've stumbled over this intro a dozen times. That one's gonna have to be good enough, and let's dive into the code. You may have noticed I am trying a different angle today, so thanks to Chris for making that suggestion, and we'll see how it goes from this side. Alright, got the sorting working. So here if I sort by the URL, then that's how they're arranged. If I go back to the original order, which is the order that they were added in, I can also toggle whether to sort by ascending or descending. And I can also sort by the comment. I'm not sure what else it would make sense to sort by, but theoretically I can be ready to add that. How that ended up working in the code, I have a state of a sort state, which includes both a type and a flip parameter. And then I created a new sort control component. So the control here we have, as you can see, a selection and then a button for the up and down. For the toggle there, I just take the state of flip and then either display this Unicode arrow for up and down. and then on change, I just pass this into a hook that is passed in from the parent component. On the new sort, I did have to be careful to basically copy the object that has this type and flip attribute. Then that makes sure that the React hook actually changes the does a re-render. Because if you just modify the state of, or if you just modify the properties of an existing object, React doesn't do a re-render. You need to pass in an entirely new object. So that's why I'm doing this object assign. This effectively creates a copy of the existing sort state and then changes the copy and then passes that in to the hook. That was a mouthful. Also of note in this search and sort function, which is growing increasingly long, first thing I did is I went through every item and I did this just a series of regex to get rid of any prefixing https www as well as the trailing slash. And that I saved as a new property on the item for a display URL. So you see here I'm now just showing Nova Ukraine instead of http blah blah blah. Then I do a sort, which is going to check the type of the sort and do different things. One place I did get hung up, I originally tried to do just a display URL minus display URL, similarly to how it would work for a number, but apparently the proper way to handle that for a string is to use this local compare function, so that's good to know. And then I multiply all of this by the direction based on the flip property of the sort state. And I'm doing this all before I actually do the filtering based on the priorities from before. So that way each segment with the similar matching priority is going to be sorted in the order that you specify. Whew. All right, let me triumphantly cross that off the list. Give myself a round of applause. I hope you were clapping with me. And I'm probably gonna say that's enough for tonight. We're getting very close for this going live, so it's kind of exciting. Obviously, I know this is not going to be the last bit of polish we put on there, but good times. All right, thanks for staying with me this far. Okay, I noticed when editing the video, it's already 20 minutes long, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here, which means I get to continue building suspense for when I finally do finish this proof of concept. I guarantee it will happen in the next video. If you are interested in testing the web app, please reach out to me. I would love to get in touch, listen to your feedback, and maybe even feature it here in a video. Until then, thank you for watching. Please be safe. Help if you can. All right, let me triumphantly cross that off. Oops. Triumphantly cross.